sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
All right, so we're diving into something I'm sure a lot of you are already talking about.
Yeah.
Logan and Jake Paul stepping into the ring. But this time, it's against each other.
Right.
So we've got this Barstool Sports piece from January 28th of this year, 2025. And the author, Murray Mush, is already calling it the fight everyone will watch.
He might be right.
Oh.
So is he right?
I think he's onto something.
Okay.
This isn't just your typical celebrity boxing match.
Right.
These brothers have built empires online, and they're bringing all that hype and that drama and that marketing power into the boxing world.
Okay, so sibling rivalry, we can all sort of wrap our heads around that as a draw.
It's built in.
But it seems like even people who aren't like diehard Paul brother fans are kind of like intrigued by this one.
Sure.
What else is fueling this anticipation?
It's like even if you criticize their every move, you're still aware of them. They've mastered the art of staying relevant.
They're constantly in the headlines.
Right.
And this fight is tapping into a curiosity that goes beyond just boxing fans.
Okay.
It's the water cooler conversation that everyone will be having.
Yeah, it's going to be unavoidable.
Yeah.
You're going to know about it even if you don't want to know about it.
Absolutely.
Mush calls it a gimmick fight?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, fair enough.
That's fair.
But he also highlights the business genius behind it.
Right.
So can you break that down for us a little bit?
The Paul brothers aren't just playing by the traditional rules of boxing.
Right.
They're leveraging their massive online following to essentially become their own promoters.
Okay.
They're controlling the narrative, the marketing, and potentially walking away with what the article mentions, $100 million from this one event.
$100 million. Yeah, that's wild. Absolutely wild, especially when you think about how many incredibly skilled traditional boxers struggle to get a fraction of that recognition or a fraction of that financial reward. Is this a sign of a shift in the whole boxing landscape?
It certainly raises questions about what success looks like in boxing today.
Okay.
The Paul brothers have tapped into a new model where online presence and self-promotion can be just as valuable as years of training.
And let's be real, part of that self-promotion, as Mush predicts, is going to involve some serious trash talk, maybe even dredging up childhood drama to add fuel to the fire.
Sure.
So how much of that is...
It's a classic tactic in boxing, pro wrestling, and frankly, any form of entertainment where conflict sells.
Yeah.
But even if we know it's part of the show, it still works. It gets us invested in the narrative, wanting to see who comes out on top.
It makes you wonder how much we'll buy into the drama.
Sure.
Are they truly at each other's throats, or is this a carefully crafted act?
Right.
And honestly, does it even matter if the fight itself delivers on the entertainment?
That's the question every viewer has to grapple with.
Yeah.
It adds a layer of intrigue to the whole event.
Right.
Are we being manipulated?
Right.
Entertained?
Yeah.
Is it possible to be both?
Totally.
The Paul brothers have certainly turned this fight into a fascinating social experiment.
So beyond the spectacle, though, Mush argues that the Paul brothers have actually, in their own controversial way, brought new attention to boxing.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's a double-edged sword.
Okay.
On the one hand, there's no denying they're bringing in a younger audience who might not have been exposed to boxing otherwise. They're essentially a gateway to the sport for a generation that consumes content online.
Okay.
But it does raise concerns about whether this new wave of fans attracted by the spectacle are truly appreciating the athleticism and skill of the sport.
Okay.
Are they diluting the pool of serious fans?
Right.
Are they prioritizing hype over substance? It's a valid concern.
So are the Paul brothers ultimately good or bad for boxing?
That's the question.
Are they legitimizing the sport, or are they cheapening it? I mean, this is where it starts to feel like a debate about the soul of boxing.
Absolutely. It's a clash between tradition and innovation.
Right.
The Paul brothers are challenging the status quo, and it's forcing everyone to rethink what boxing is, who it's for, and how it survives in a rapidly changing media landscape.
And this fight becomes the battleground for those ideas.
Exactly. It's not just a boxing match. It's a cultural moment.
Wow.
A reflection of our times and a microcosm of the larger forces at play in entertainment as a whole.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Thanks. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this clash plays out both inside and outside the ring.
Right. And this fight isn't happening in a vacuum, right?
Right.
This is part of a bigger trend we're seeing with influencers and content creators crossing over into traditional spaces.
Yeah.
You got YouTubers starting podcasts, TikTok stars, landing movie roles. I mean,
It's a whole new world.
it really is.
It is, and it's disrupting those traditional industries for better or worse.
Yeah.
The Paul brothers are a prime example of how to build a brand in the digital age.
Right.
Bypass gatekeepers and connect directly with a massive audience.
And their business model is fascinating.
Yeah.
They're not just fighters.
Right.
They're entertainers, entrepreneurs. I mean, they've got their fingers in all sorts of pies.
Oh, yeah.
It's like they've cracked the code of monetizing fame in the 21st century.
They've certainly mastered the art of self-promotion and audience engagement.
Mm-hmm.
And that entrepreneurial spirit is a big part of their appeal.
Okay.
Especially to younger generations. They're not just selling a fight, they're selling a lifestyle of brand and aspiration.
It's like they're saying you too can achieve success on your own terms outside the traditional systems.
Right.
That's a message that resonates.
Absolutely. And it's changing the way we think about celebrity success.
Right.
And even the nature of work itself.
Yeah.
The Paul brothers are part of a larger conversation about the future of entertainment entrepreneurship and the power of individual branding.
Okay, so we've talked about the business savvy, the cultural impact, but let's go back to the boxing itself for a minute.
Sure.
The Barstool article mentions that Jake Paul has primarily fought in gimmick fights up until this point.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that means in the context of boxing?
A gimmick fight is essentially a match designed more for entertainment than genuine competition.
Okay.
Think celebrities, YouTubers stepping into the ring, often with limited boxing experience.
So spectacle over skill.
Essentially. And that's where it gets controversial.
Okay.
Some argue that these fights are cheapening the sport, taking away opportunities from more skilled boxers,
Right.
and focusing on hype over genuine athleticism.
But the Paul brothers are bringing in huge crowds and generating tons of revenue for the sport, right?
Right.
Doesn't that count for something?
It's a valid point.
Okay.
Their supporters argue that they're introducing boxing to a new generation, injecting fresh energy and excitement into the sport.
Okay.
They're filling seats and making headlines that traditional boxing matches sometimes struggle to achieve.
So is this just a necessary evolution,
Yeah.
boxing adapting to a changing world, or is it compromising its integrity for the sake of entertainment and profit?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's one that boxing fans, promoters, and athletes are grappling with.
Yeah.
The Paul brothers have brought this debate to the forefront, whether intentionally or not.
So this fight against each other, is this a turning point for them?
I don't know.
Will we see Jake Paul, for example, transition into more serious boxing matches after this?
It's certainly possible this fight could be a way for them to prove their skills, silence critics, and perhaps even gain legitimacy within the boxing world.
Okay.
Or it could solidify their status as entertainers, first boxers second.
Right.
Only time will tell.
It's like we're watching a real-time experiment unfold with the future of boxing hanging in the balance.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
This fight is a microcosm of the larger forces at play in the world of sports and entertainment.
Okay.
It's about tradition versus innovation, spectacle versus skill. And the evolving definition of what it means to be a successful athlete in the digital age.
Okay, so we've unpacked the hype, the business model, the impact on boxing,
Yeah.
even the philosophical questions that this fight raises.
Uh-huh.
But I think there's one more layer we need to peel back here.
Okay.
What's the real motivation behind all of this?
Yeah.
Is it all about money and fame for the Paul brothers?
I don't know.
Or is there something deeper at play?
I think it's a combination of factors. There's no denying the financial incentive. This fight is a massive payday for both of them. But I also believe there's a drive for legacy at play here.
Legacy in what sense?
They're both aware that their time as internet celebrities is finite. Trends change, audiences move on. Boxing offers them a chance to achieve something more enduring,
Okay.
to prove their skills and toughness in a way that transcends the fleeting world of online fame.
So it's about validation, maybe even respect.
I think, so they want to be recognized for more than just their viral videos or social media antics. They want to be taken seriously as athletes.
Right.
And this fight is their opportunity to do that on a global stage.
And then, of course, there's the sibling rivalry aspect.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, they're brothers and brothers always compete.
Of course.
I can't even imagine the family dynamics at play here.
Absolutely. This fight is also a deeply personal battle for them. It's about proving who's the stronger brother, who's the better boxer, who has the right to claim ultimate bragging rights.
So it's a story about money, legacy, sibling rivalry, and maybe even a touch of existential angst.
Yeah.
It's no wonder this fight has captured everyone's attention.
It's a multi-layered event that goes far beyond just two guys throwing punches.
Right.
It's a reflection of our culture, our values, and the questions we're all grappling with in this digital age.
It's a deep dive in the truest sense of the word.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that even the most superficial events can reveal deeper truths about ourselves and the world around us.
We've covered a lot of ground here, from the business side of things to the, cultural impact.
Yeah. But now I'm curious.
Okay.
Are you going to watch the fight?
I'll definitely be tuning in.
Okay.
From an analytical standpoint, it'll be fascinating to see how their styles match up if the trash talk translates to actual aggression in the ring.
Yeah.
And, how they handle the pressure of such a high-profile event.
Yeah. I mean, it's more than just the boxing itself, though, right?
Right.
It's the whole spectacle, the drama.
Oh, yeah.
The sibling rivalry playing out on a global stage.
Absolutely. This fight taps into something primal, that fascination with competition, especially when it's between family members.
Right.
And then you layer on top of that the whole digital age element. These guys are products of the internet.
Right.
And their success, live it or hate it, is a reflection of the power of online platforms.
So even if someone isn't a boxing enthusiast,
Yeah.
this fight still offers something to think about. A window into the cultural shifts that are happening all around us.
Precisely. And that's what makes this deep dive so interesting.
Yeah.
We're not just analyzing a boxing match.
We're exploring the intersection of sports entertainment, family dynamics, and the digital landscape.
So you're prepped for the conversations that this fight will spark you, understand the business savvy behind it, the entertainment factor, and even some of the deeper questions it raises about the state of boxing itself.
And to leave you with one final thought-provoking question to consider.
Okay.
If the Paul brothers, who came from outside the traditional boxing world, are so successful at attracting attention and money to the sport, what does that tell us about boxing's current state?
Is this a sign of decline?
Right.
A desperate grab for relevance? Or is it a necessary evolution embracing new audiences and new platforms to thrive in the 21st century?
Right.
That's something we'll all be watching unfold.
It's a question that will likely be debated long after the final bell rings.
And we'd love to hear where you land on that debate.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till